Welcome, everybody, to another stunning episode of Behind the Counter. I'm your host, Rich Stambolian, and with me, as always, is a man who knows how to roll that beautiful bean footage.
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan Adler.
Hey.
Does anybody ever call you Nathan?
No.
No?
Joe Nathan, sometimes.
Joe Nathan.
I think my father does sometimes.
That's cool.
That's about it. I love that we start these shows.
I don't know how that, like, I don't know. I always just try to come up with a little something for you.
I always appreciate it.
That's cool. Next week, you do it.
No.
And then...
I'm never going to do the opening. We should do a cold open. We should do, like, before we come on, we should be, like, doing something.
Like
they
a
come
bit?
in. We kind of do that now, but we should be, like, in the middle of a bit, and you kind of, like, coming in, and we close out, and then we get, like, a theme song going. See a
That'd be
speedboat.
cool. These guys love comic books. I was thinking about that this morning, actually. It's weird that you mentioned that. Because Skyrim came out this week, the Xbox game. You picked it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, a good little video would be you playing intensely for like a minute, and then me coming in and going, "We got a show to do."
That's pretty much what happened today.
You know, and then like it's us running to Andrew's house.
My my life is decaying as we speak because of Skyrim. I just got it today.
Listen, it's
I like beards. I like Nordic stuff. I like mountains, swords, sorcery.
Well, it's reported that the game is actually 1,000 hours long.
It's like reading the Bible. There's so much stuff to read. That's like you can actually get lost in like a library and read like thousands of books about stuff that makes no sense at all. Just talking about like elder gods and weird stuff like that.
I would play a game based on the Bible.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be incredible. You're like a bystander who saw the whole thing.
And you'd be and you can throw animals at people.
And then you can talk to Methuselah.
Animal. Lion.
Andrew, I got to tell you, man, the way you got the mics mic'd right now, it's beautiful.
I can't tell.
No?
I have a cavern that's called an ear.
Well, we're
just wait for echoes.
everything's coming in so nice and deep. It's like so bassy. I love it.
Yeah, I fixed the audio.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
Nice and deep.
So, we got a lot of things to talk about today.
We do.
And I think, what do we got? The first thing, I wouldn't say I'm incensed by it, but I would say it was like a nonsensical thing. I had a bit of a panic attack.
Oh, yes.
The other day, when the comics came out, not a real panic attack, it was just like I was sitting at work, and I make my list. I know what comics I'm going to get, and then I get a text from Jonathan saying, "Hey man, Hulk #2 is awesome." And I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? It came out today? And he's like, yeah, man. I'm like, no, it's not. And he's like, I'm reading it right now. And I was like, whoa, it's not on any solicits.
The worst thing that you can do to either of us is tell us that something came out and we know that it's not supposed to come out.
Right.
Because we panic because we think it's not going to be in our pile.
Exactly.
And what happened was with Incredible Hulk #2, they released it digitally early on Comixology. And I get most of my stuff digital.
Right.
So while I was talking to you, I could I'm talking to you via text, and I could feel the beads of sweat starting to and you scrambling, going on websites and reading, you opening up 5 tabs, and you're like comic list. You have best comics open. You have everything that has a printed list on. Yeah. Because like Schindler, you make lists and you follow lists.
That's good. That's why he got cast. To be so he's texting me like, I'm reading it right now, and I'm scouring the internet looking for this book that has not come out. And then it was who broke the news? Bleeding Cool broke the news that it was released digitally at the same time. I had no idea.
Yeah, and now there's a big thing about it because it was released with about 11 different artists on the book.
Right. So it wasn't just Silvestri.
No, it was Billy Tan and Jimmy Chong and Albert Wong.
No.
Lots of finishes, lots of dudes on the book to get the book out on time. And number 1 just came out maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
But man, watching you panic attack during that thing was very enjoyable.
It's weird, and you know what? I also had a mini one. I was like Fred Sanford with my comics this week, and I'm coming. I forgot to pick up the Penguin #2 this week.
Which one?
Penguin.
That was good, man. Yeah, that was really good.
I missed #2. I totally forgot to snag it.
And now you get that you're gonna get 3, 4, and 5 and 6, and you're never gonna get #2.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna suck. Well, I mean, I'll just send my my girlfriend not to get me #2.
Get me the book.
Because I have no time.
Get me the book.
I have 7 jobs. I have no time.
Get me the book.
I need. Was it Penguin?
Pain and Prejudice.
I keep wanting to say Bird and Prejudice.
Birds and Prejudice. Two things that go together well together: racism and fine feathered friends.
Yeah, birds.
Boys.
So I mean, this makes an interesting argument I don't know if it's a compelling argument, but it's definitely an interesting one about digital comics versus printed comics, because you were saying that it came out with the same price. There was no discount. It was $3.99, right?
Yeah, which I mean, normally it wouldn't. It would be discounted to probably $1.99 or
Right.
$2.99. This was definitely something that kind of fell through the cracks.
Right.
But yeah, at $3.99 for a regular like 20-page comic of story, 32 with ads.
And the thing for me was that I look forward to the stuff so much, and like I do get a discount when I get my comics. And when I found that out, I was so tempted to just download it.
Yeah,
because it was
it's
there.
out.
It's out. It's a week early. I want to read this thing. I really want to read it. But then I'm kind of like, you know what? This is a good hook.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, it could have been... I mean, I don't think anything happens by happenstance on the internet anymore. Right. I think something like that could be a way to see what type of interest... Because it's, you know, by mistake, it made its way to the internet.
Right.
It could be a way to kind of gauge people if you know, if it's released first on, you know, digitally, are people going to go chase after it?
Right.
And, I mean, I certainly did. You were thinking about it.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some type of interest that's involved with that.
Well, it's also interesting. And then, like, when you look at the bigger picture of putting books online, comics, the more comics you buy, I feel the more not disposable income you have, but the more of a fan you are. Like, I would say the majority of comic book fans are still guys who are over 30 or like mid-20s to like maybe mid-40s.
Yeah.
You know, and they have the dough to go out every Monday or every Wednesday and buy like a big stack of books.
Or Monday.
You know, or Monday. And on the weekends, you know, you'll have like little kids buying like 1 or 2 books with their folks, you know, and that's how I got into comics.
Yeah.
You know, like buying like the 1 or 2 issues here and there. So the internet thing is really cool because you have these adults who, you know, have full-time jobs, and they can say, you know what, I'm just going to download everything onto my iPad.
Not going nowhere.
I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to spend money on gas or walking. Or
Dude,
like
I mean, but it's still like a, you know, I still went out and bought, you know, like Fear Itself, you know, 7.2. There's still a necessity need to have something that's, you know, tangible. There's definitely some type of weird magic involved with, you know, actually reading a book as opposed to flipping through it on, you know, a computer or your iPad or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like you have that tactile sensation of, you know, that it and also brings you back. It's something like that brings you back when you're a kid, you know, and that might get phased out at some point. Maybe 20 years from now, you know, some guys will be doing a show talking about how when they were kids, digital comics were it instead of like virtual comics.
Brain blast.
You know, like, yeah. Like,
did you get a brain blast on Crab Hulk #2 this week?
I missed the brain blast connection this morning. I'm freaking out.
You know? Yeah, I mean, like a lot of it is like how, like, you know, a big part of what comics are is we're so impatient. You know, we get, you know, we get a preview, we get a spoiler. We're constantly talking about how, you know, much we want something right now. We want all of it right now.
Right.
We want the whole run right now.
Yeah.
we want answers now. We don't want any waiting.
Yeah.
And we have a long wait usually because we have to wait for, you know, a cliffhanger for 30 months.
Yeah.
For 30 months, for 30 days.
For 3 days.
30 months.
You have to wait for the cliffhanger for 30 days. And then I'm still old school with the way I approach my books in a lot of respects where if I know I want to read something, I will definitely pick up the trade and not read anything about the book. Or if the trade has been released, I'll hunt down the issues. You know, digital comics kind of throw that out the window where you can just be, hey, listen, I want to get this, and this, and it's here.
It's out there.
You know, it's out there. And the big pro, for me at least, is the fact that if you're reading comic books on an iPad, they look friggin' beautiful.
Yeah, man.
You know, they are
look
gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And you can zoom in. You know, the human eye doesn't have a zoom function unless you just move stuff really close to your head. You know, and you can like touch. You can touch the screen, and then, you know, and everything is like, it's beautiful, and it's like it's an enriched experience. If you're into the digital thing, you know.
If you're not, you're screwed.
Yeah, I mean it's the
future.
It's the future, but it's also a non-argument at this point because the print medium is not dead, no matter what anybody says. You know.
I think it's just sleeping.
Yeah.
There's still people who you know, no matter what, there's still going to be a need for some type of you know, collection. You know, you're not collecting comics if you just download them on an iPad.
Right.
You know, because you can erase it, you can, you know, reclaim it. But with something that's, you know, tangible, there's definitely some type of, you're a collector. I'm not a collector. I'm a reader. Right. So I know that you'll always have the print version of everything.
Yeah, I mean, like,
not so much. I don't have the room for it anymore.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before, but, you know, like once like real like life stuff, like having a kid, getting married, that kind of thing hits you, that kind of stuff has to leave, you know, and that's an argument for digital comics
because kids take up too much room.
Kids take up a lot of room, and they smell.
Yeah.
But like I was telling you before, I'm like, if I ever had to sell like off my comic book collection, which is pretty massive, and somebody said, hey, you know what, like, put them all on like a hard drive and you can still have them, but they won't take as much space, it would probably be a viable option.
It has to be.
You know,
it's something because eventually you're not going to gain more and more space for stuff that comes out at 40 issues a week.
Right.
You're buying. I know that you're buying a ton of freaking books.
Yeah, I mean, especially now with like all the DC stuff. Like before the relaunch, my DC stack was 2 books a week maybe.
Yeah,
and they were usually just like the 2 Batman books that came out that week or whatever. And I honestly, I think that was it. I think I was at one point I was just getting like Batman Incorporated and the 2 main Bat books and like Superman. And I dropped and Green Lantern. I dropped everything else, And now, I'm like stuff is kind of dying for me now. Like I passed on Mr. Terrific this week. And,
well, it's just terrible.
And like a lot of stuff like that. So it's the DC things for me is getting fine tuned.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, because you want to give everything a fair shot. Especially for what we do, we have the opportunity to talk about this stuff. Normally, I wouldn't have read half the stuff. Like, I see myself going through my list of books, and I'm like, all right, I can skip Mr. Terrific. I don't have to really rush to read this right now.
Right.
I don't have to read Red Lanterns. I'm not really rushing that for that one as much as I want to, inherently. Yeah. But it's not doing it for me.
Right. Well, I think that's also a big thing with a storytelling issue. Yeah. From that standpoint, where if you're a fan of comic books or reading or books in general, like you want to be completely immersed in a story. And granted, there are corporations that are in charge of these major companies, and like the thing that's kind of apart from the relaunch and the weird foibles that I consider wrong with what they're doing, I wish that the DC corporation paid more attention to real excellent storytelling instead of the flash in the pan.
That's what it feels like,
new
man.
stuff.
Yeah, that's what it really feels like. It feels like there's not a lot of. They're constantly saying that the writers are backing up that there is a overall plan, that they have taken account a lot of the continuity issues that we're worrying about, but everything feels like an immediate storyline. It just feels like this is what we're telling right now.
Right.
We'll figure it out down the line. We talk about this all the time. But Marvel, they think in the exact opposite, where it's hey, we're going to do a lot of crossovers. We're going to do a lot of like long form serial storytelling. Right. That's ultimately what you're there for, because it's a story that doesn't end. So you're constantly doing change and anything. And I think myself, I'm not as bothered by massive change as I used to, because it's gonna everything's gonna revert back to its original form. Right. So if Thor's dead this week, I know that he'll probably be back real soon. Just like we saw with Bucky. It's still a great story. I get more enjoyment out of Marvel just because I am born and raised on it. Right. But there's something about the way that DC feels. And there was a time where I was really heavily DC. When Identity Crisis was out, Infinite Crisis, when Grant Morrison was really, at the helm, and, Jeff Johns was really doing a lot and kind of redoing a lot of these characters. Right. It felt great. It felt new and fresh. It doesn't feel like I'm getting new and fresh with a lot of the 52 stuff. But the storytelling aspect of it, it doesn't feel like you're looking at this great, like, wonderful new universe that you're supposed to be discovering. Right. It just feels like I read somebody actually call it like Ultimate DC. That's what it feels like. It feels like a temporary thing. It feels the same way that Flashpoint did. Yeah, no, it's a great argument for that, and it's a weird thing that DC's always had a certain aesthetic, and I think with the relaunch, it really comes across that aesthetic doesn't do it for me anymore. No, when you have an amazing book like Batwoman coming out month after month after the relaunch, and the art is completely it's outside of the box. Literally, because most 90% of DC stuff is panel by panel, straightforward stuff, and it doesn't really add to the storytelling in a lot of books. And with a relaunch, I want to be blown away by everything that comes out. Yeah, and it's hard to do in the course of 20 pages, for an issue, but certainly a lot of these books are getting it across better than others. Like Batwoman, you feel like you're getting a full package. Right. You definitely aren't getting that when you're reading, to use Mr. Terrific again, something like that. Yeah. And, there are books that have stepped it up, like Suicide Squad 3 was pretty good this week. It's growing on me. Yeah. And we inherently like villain stories. Exactly. And Batman and Robin was another one where, like, the first 2 issues were good. This one was excellent. What Marvel does is they'll, if you can follow me on this, is they'll plant the seed
way ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then they'll nurture it, and they will get an excellent story that is very like I don't want to use the term like it's like a soap opera, but you have like this amazing progression of a story, and everything is paced extremely well in their universe.
Well, yeah, I mean that's inherently what you need for a serial comic. I mean, it's you want to tune in every month, so you're waiting for that seed to kind of just get fed into. Like a complaint of Marvel is always with they have event fatigue.
Right.
That they're always building towards something, but if they're not building towards something, you're doing something wrong because you don't want to tune in for anything. There's no finite ending. Like Civil War did that. Civil War felt like okay, this is kind of the ground we're laying, but it was a very much a concise ending. It was almost like a happy ending to a degree.
Right.
But you have like things like Fear itself, where you always want a big aspect of a threat always looming or a huge fallout, and you do want those in these big events. But even something like New Avengers or Avengers is always like you always feel like there's something down the line.
Yeah,
you always feel like they really are building towards a larger storyline. Even while reading it, it doesn't feel like it's placeholding. It doesn't feel like, hey, all right, this is this month. We're just waiting to find out who's behind that mask.
I think you nailed it. It's not placeholding. Marvel for the past few years has not done anything significantly like that. There's a few things here and there where they'll bring the first example that comes to my mind is when Jeff Loeb took over Ultimates. Yeah. And as they were okay, but they to me those were like placeholding books for the next big thing.
Yeah.
And Marvel doesn't really have a habit of doing that, and when they do, it's still like okay, because they'll do like the big like stunt casting thing where they'll team Jeff Loeb up with Ed McGuinness. Yeah. And you'll have a beautiful book.
Yeah, but no, the problem with those books are, and it always makes me like shirk back a little bit with when they get involved, that particular team, they kind of like cull and like whatever's going on. They didn't really pay attention. Like, all right, so Point One was a big preview book this week. That can be argued that it's kind of just all it is seeds. And all it is just like, oh, we're going to kind of show you what's going to be coming down the line. But the problem is that I'm not a fan of Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. Okay. But I'll always jump into their stuff. Like, I'll read this X-Men thing they're doing with Cable.
The extinction
for So I don't know where they're going. I don't know where it's going. It's probably have to do something with the Phoenix, as they show in Point One.
Yeah.
But like Nova's dead. Where they, they're talking about Nova Corps. There's a lot of they kind of barrel into a storyline without paying attention to what else is going on.
Yeah, I always get that feel with them too. You're right about that. Yeah.
I think he just has ultimate says like, you know what, we'll figure it out later on. That's a DC way of looking at things.
Right. And it's a little detrimental, but like it's weird too because you have that addiction to stories also, and I'm gonna pick up all the Extinction books.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And like even with like when Red Hulk was going on, it was a storyline I didn't enjoy, but it grew on me, and definitely like once Red Hulk was incorporated into like the rest of the universe, I enjoyed him. Like when he joined the Avengers, like it was definitely one of the higher points of the character. I still want his mustache though. Yeah, absolutely. That was another last week we did the BTC fan fiction thing. That's gonna be my other thing where in the Hulk story, General Ross is the leader of the Thunderbolts. See, that's good thinking.
Like he's the and they're all LMDs.
That's good.
No.
See, I would roll with that, and I would read that book.
See, that's cool.
Long-term thinking.
Long-term thinking. You want that Marvel way of thinking?
I do,
but it's.
I also want the number boxes back in the corner.
I'm not. I like the way the books.
No. I want those. I want those branding of like the Marvel, the old school like head boxes that have like the X-Men characters in there.
There's always Spider-Man.
Well, they had the UPC in the bottom. It had Spider-Man's head.
Yeah. And
then the upper left-hand corner, they always had like number whatever, Marvel, and they had like it was the X-Men team. You'd see like Magneto's head, and you'd see something like that. I want that. I want some type of weird branding with it. I know that we want more room for the artist to make an awesome cover, but there's something Marvel about it.
By the way, that was me being Storm.
Storm. Can you do that? Can you just put the camera on yourself for 2 seconds?
Storm.
And this is Rogue.
I want to shout out. Can I shout out characters at you?
Sure.
Captain America.
Hitler.
What is that?
It's a shield.
That's Hitler.
It's a shield.
Exact opposite of Captain America. That's Captain America.
Any more?
Wolverine. Yeah, go ahead, Wolverine. Yeah. Oh, okay.
He's gonna graffiti a bathroom.
Snick bub.
I got these shoppies, bro. Yeah, man, you want good storytelling. The point one thing was really interesting. It's not what I expected at all.
No, it was so much like a preview book. It was like, I liked it. I like what kind of being teased for it. There's elements that are stronger than others.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised to see that the framing storyline with Watcher.
I really
was
like that
by Brubaker, which was like totally not a Brubaker story at all. I have no idea why I read that the twin storyline.
It's weird.
Like, I don't want to read another story about two, like, an Asian couple of twins that have fire and ice powers.
Well, you know,
I feel like I've read that 100 times over.
Yeah, and you know what it is though. Also, it's like you immediately think of Akira when you think of government experiments in children.
Yeah,
and that always comes to my head. If you're a comic book fan or a Marvel fan, pick up Marvel Point One this week. It's kind of like.
You have to pick it up if you're a Marvel fan.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? It's like, how to describe it? It's a bunch of different stories within a story. Essentially, these guys go and try to rob the Watcher of
his brain,
of his memory, of what he's seen.
Why he's sleeping for like 42 minutes? He's uploading shit.
Right. Yeah, they established that's kind of a cool thing that every 3 years they establish that the Watcher takes a 42-minute break to upload his visions to the other Watchers, and these two thieves.
They look like man wolves.
Right. The two thieves like jump in and they're like, we got 42 minutes to see what we got to see and get what we got to get. So then they see glimpses of alternate realities and you don't know which is regular Marvel continuity. And then it's branching off into different stories which include modern Marvel continuity, Age of Apocalypse.
Awesome.
And
Dave Latham story.
Yeah, Defenders, which takes place in the Marvel continuity, right? Regular
Which is a
Marvel
really
continuity.
cool, weird Greenwich Village story.
And then X-Force is doing Age of Apocalypse.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a standalone ongoing of, like, the humans from Age of Apocalypse who are, like, racist, murdering scumbags.
The mutants.
Yeah, the humans.
Oh, but no.
Yeah, it's like Great and Creed. It's like basically the Hellfire Club are, like, bad dudes.
It's like reverse Reavers.
Yeah.
You know?
Pretty much, yeah.
And then Scarlet Spider, which is Kane, which is Spider-Man's clone. It was
used to be the ugly clone.
He was an ugly big clone, and now he's a big handsome clone.
With a big beard. He's very Nordic.
Right, and he has a black and red Spidey costume, and that's set in in regular continuity.
The only one that's really not set in Marvel continuity is the Age of Apocalypse. But then they have the future storyline, which is the last story with Bendis and Brian Hitch doing the Ultron War for the Avengers.
That was the big selling point for me.
Yeah.
All you get to see is it's like a 4-page trailer or a preview of a bunch of Ultrons exterminating people in the city. Is that the Owl?
That's the Owl.
That's the Owl.
Making a deal with the Ultrons.
And it's Owl, Spider-Man, and Hawkeye, and they're on the run from these Ultrons. So it's kind of like a cool thing. I remember when what DC used to do in the back of JSA when they'd have like the 1 page of the future events. And it really made you excited and anticipate stuff.
That was always a really cool thing. I love that little. I think Jeff Johns was the first one to do that with this year in JSA you'll get like Superman coming out of the grave and Power Girl getting punched in the face and
somebody kisses Batman.
Somebody's gonna kiss Batman. Guess what? It's Batman.
Oh snap!
Kissing himself.
That
self-servient.
There's probably a Grant Morrison script somewhere out there that has that exact moment.
Yeah, Batman kissing Batman.
It's like on the cheek.
No, you're going full blown mouth. With, Batman on Batman action. It's a good. The book is very good. It's just it feels very kind of lopsided. Like Batman's kisses.
I swallowed a microchip. The only person to get it out is me.
It's my own mouth. It's getting in flux. Ugh, disgusting.
Oh man. What else? What else we got?
I don't know. What else we got?
We got going along with the storytelling thing from before is I consider these two one book. The Fear Itself 7.2 came out this week with Thor, and Journey into Mystery also came out, which takes place in the Thor Asgardian universe. And
very cool.
And you don't really need one. Well, you need, if you're reading Journey, you need Fear Itself Thor. But if you're reading Fear Itself Thor, you don't really need Journey.
Which is ass backwards.
Yeah, but I mean, you dug it, right?
I did. I read Journey before I read Fear Itself. 7.2. and really just weird. Like again, weird storytelling. Like essentially in Fear Itself 7.2, you get the funeral pyre of Thor. He's dead after he fought with the serpent.
Right.
And Odin basically summons his three wives, like which used to be Frigga, now it's Freya.
Right.
Gaia and somebody else.
Iden.
So it's like it's the maiden, the witch, and the mother, right?
The maiden,
it's like the three witches.
Yeah.
Like Sandman style.
Right.
You get the three, like the maiden, the witch. It's like the mother,
the wife, and the
whore.
Exactly. But that's the thing, because Iden was in that Broxton storyline, and then she got kidnapped by Doctor Doom.
Was that? No.
Remember that? Yeah, because Iden wasn't Iden in love with that dude?
Maybe
because she had the apples, and then she didn't want to give.
And then Journey into Mystery says take an apple.
Right.
I think there's just I think you said to me earlier in the week too when we were talking about the two books that they're kind of re-examining how, and even Journey into Mystery has been dealing with like the book of myth and like how it's a constantly evolving thing and changing, and we even see that with like them summoning this version of like the three goddesses for the most part that now rule over Asgard.
While Odin takes care of his unconscious brother.
He's dead.
Or dead.
He's dead.
Yeah.
He's gonna watch his body rot.
He's watching him.
He's gonna watch him. He's gonna make sure he's still dead.
Yeah.
And but the biggest thing that happens in this is Odin. His last deed, I guess, is to replace Thor with Daenerys.
Yeah.
So Thor it's kind of a weird moment where Thor's body is burning up in the pyre, and magnificent Daenerys, this pretty much new character who is the god of thunder, with a hammer in his hand and a turkey leg in the other.
Yeah.
And everyone forgets that they're there for Thor's like funeral pyre.
Right.
And it's a celebration for this birth of Daenerys, who, according to the story, has always been the god of thunder. So your entire memory of Thor is now wiped out, and Daenerys has always been Thor.
Is that how you're reading into it?
I'm totally reading into that.
Okay. Because I'm reading into it as if Daenerys existed before. Like I was telling you the other day how when Thor was like a kid, he wasn't the god of thunder. He was just like Thor, So maybe he was the god of thunder who got banished before that, and Freya, Frigga, and Iden say, our son, the ass, is back.
Yeah, I think it's something. I think they're constantly talking about this forgotten Asgard, these other aspects of Asgard before.
Right.
But I think what they're doing right now is they're kind of rewriting history.
Okay.
And that now that they're supposed, because they really the only one that realizes that this is going on is Loki.
Right.
But I think we're going to see more of this in the upcoming Thor issues where Daenerys kind of takes over. Plus, you have Thor's eyes opening up, which you say is kind of an obvious reveal, but you loved it anyway.
Yeah, you know what? I knew it was going to happen as soon as you saw him floating, where it's like every story has an ending and a beginning.
Yeah,
and I'm like, he's going to open his eyes. He opened his eyes. It's great.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's these the two deaths of Fear Itself was Bucky and Thor, and within like 2 issues we've seen them kind of get reversed. But still, it's enjoyable as hell. Like it's still like a fun book, and it's really cool to see like this much aftermath. Like I'm so much looking forward to the next Fear Itself, which is the aftermath of Iron Man with dealing with Grey Gargoyle, because Grey Gargoyle was my favorite friggin' feud throughout all of Fear Itself.
That was fantastic.
That dude, if people don't know, Grey Gargoyle turned all of Paris into like stone. So he killed like millions of people.
Yeah,
it's like the whole like French Riviera is just filled with piled up bodies.
Yeah,
and it's cool stuff.
And there was really no nod to it in any of the Fear
No,
Itself
you
books
really
either.
You had to read Iron Man.
And the Iron Man stuff is really top notch too.
If you weren't reading Iron Man, you're an idiot. You missed out on the best thing on in Fear Itself.
That's a little harsh, but I agree completely.
I don't think it's harsh enough. You're a big enough idiot. You're grown up. You should be reading Iron Man.
So, you have like the Tanner's thing threw me for a loop, because when you saw like the previews and stuff for him, I was like, this is like a stoic character and he's a bad dude, but apparently he's a douche.
He's a total douche.
And he's like a douchey god of thunder, and everybody's like, he's the god of thunder.
I thought they would have brought back Red Norval. Remember Red Norval? He was like the Thor of myth. He was like the red-haired, like dickish, Thor.
Yeah.
I thought like he would serve the purpose that Daenerys does. I think he is more of like a thunder god of myth. He looks Celtic.
He looks very Celtic.
His hammer looks Celtic. It looks like the Celtic,
Yeah.
hammer.
But you know what? It might also be the thing they're going with the whole how every Asgardian has a cyclical like being.
Yeah, they've been through Ragnarok a ton of times.
And it's cool that they established that.
Yeah.
And I remember a few years ago where they did that Michael Oeming wrote that awesome freaking Ragnarok story with Beta Ray Bill, and they really went through the whole Ragnarok thing and Thor becoming blind.
Yeah.
So he can get like Odin Allfather sight and stuff like that, and that's when they originally killed him, and then they brought him back in Civil War.
Yeah, dude, they've done they've killed Thor a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They've killed Balder a lot. I'm surprised Balder made it out alive.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too that I'm really anxious for, like when Balder shows up and he's like, "So am I? Am I still the guy?" Or
he's
what?
there. He was there. He was in Journey.
Yeah. But I want like the
You want?
confrontation.
No, he's not getting it.
Like
They're gonna forget again, like just like they did in the movie, how he's not even related to him anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
They didn't even mention like Balder's a brother. For most of my life of reading Thor comics, I had no idea Balder was one of his brothers.
Right. Well, they never addressed in the Marvel books until that one story where Loki finds out the truth.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think he's always been. I just think they never even talk about because he's like shit on.
I really would have loved for like Marvel they'll probably never do through us for an even bigger loop and have Ares show up instead of Tanner.
Yeah, I want Ares back.
Yeah.
I think it's been too long for Ares not to be back.
He died in Siege, which was close to 2 years ago, right?
Give or take. Yeah, I'd say so.
About a year and a half, 2 years ago. Another kind of honorable mention book that ties into the Shattered Heroes thing is Battle Scars #1.
Monsieur the State Part 2.
Which is, in a nutshell, like it seems like a slow burn, and they're revealing a new character that is supposed to be a major influence. Major influence.
This is where this is the same team as Fearless.
Mm-hmm.
That really feeds into my my impatience.
Right.
Where I just want to know who he is, like because
Yeah.
there's some type of weird story behind who his father is.
Right. Well, I mean, it also like the weird thing about that book is they tell you, stay tuned because the reveal is going to be crazy and this guy's going to have a major effect on this stuff and you want to know who he is. And with the father thing, I'm like, I'm already getting this with S.H.I.E.L.D. It's Howard Stark and Nathaniel Richards. Like who's this guy's dad?
It's also, we do the weird thing too because the character Marcus Johnson, he's a black dude.
Right.
So automatically me and Rich start ranting off like, okay, who's black?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Falcon's black? You believe that black light doesn't exist?
It was just
we thought the black Captain America. It's like, no, it's
too obvious. Moses Magnum. Falcon's too young.
Way too young. This dude's like a full-grown man.
Yeah.
I guess he's like a man baby.
Luke Cage, too young.
Ooh, maybe he's Luke. Well, it has to do something with spies. It has to do something with like the underbelly of like the Marvel universe. But
Right.
I mean, I'm along for the ride.
I'm for the ride. It's cool, man. And like the other awesome book that came out this week, which was another really cool stuff. We're both huge fans of Norman Osborn. New Avengers #18 came out this week, where he's bringing back his evil, psychotic Avengers,
Dark Avengers,
and he recruits them.
Yeah.
Really cool thing was I didn't see Scar joining up.
No, I kind of got an idea when I saw the cover. And they kind of give you the silhouettes of the dudes.
Right.
But I love crap like this where they're doing like team building.
Right.
And like he's going like Norman Osborn's kind of going around and making a mission statement and collecting dudes. You got Scar. You got Gorgon.
Right.
And I didn't realize until I read afterwards that Gorgon is the Wolverine at the end of the comic.
I did a double take with that also because the last page of the book is them with bad guys or misfits, and they put them in older other characters' costumes.
My my most disappointing thing was Iapek, the big giant spider dude.
Yeah,
it looks so awesome. Like he's basically a gigantic, like Medusa-headed spider centaur.
Yeah,
and they make him into a 6-armed black Venom.
Yeah,
which is fine. Yeah. It's cool. I'm not gonna say it's not cool, but like he just visually, it's such a unique, awesome look.
It's a really cool look, and like two things with that is that the character of Norman Osborn is like, we can't have you looking like this, man. You're gross.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that he didn't say eat this. He just hands him like a little thing.
And he said eat it, and he just eats it
and
in his mouth.
He looks at it and he eats it, and then he's like, "What's happening?" And now I have a costume. Like, where did the costume come from?
I think Osborn's got a little bit of Venom everywhere.
You think?
Yeah.
You think he's got like a little bit of symbiote somewhere?
Or something, or just something that controls back. I mean, Osborn's a genius.
Yeah.
I'm not looking into Marvel science.
We'll leave that. The Gorgon thing is really cool because he's like, I'm the best there is at what I do.
And he was dead.
Yeah.
He died in Secret Warriors.
And he's back in a Wolverine outfit.
You've got Toxie Doxie, who is another character from Osborn's miniseries, which is awesome. Pick it up.
June Covington.
Yeah. She becomes either Scarlet Witch or Ms. Marvel.
I think she's Scarlet Witch.
I think Toxie Doxie is Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
I think Madame Hydra, Viper is
Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
And then you have Scar's Hulk. You have Hawkeye's brother,
Barney Barton,
which was like a miniseries maybe a month ago, and they said that the Avengers Tower fell on him.
I didn't even know Hawkeye had a brother. I didn't read that miniseries.
I read the miniseries, so I knew about the red-haired Hawkeye thing. A lot of weird offshoot characters, which I'm always happy for bands to use because usually that means they'll get more play.
Right.
So it's all cool. It's cool to see this villain stuff happen. I love Osborn. I would love to see him more in a Green Goblin costume and fight more Spidey, but you don't get that anymore.
No, not at all. But it was a cool thing where he's like, now does somebody have a suit of armor I could borrow?
I want to see him in a Goblin costume so bad.
Oh, yeah, Goblin armor.
I want to see that American Patriot suit made up green and purple.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Give him a little hood.
Something wear the Goblin makeup underneath the helmet like he did in at the end of Siege.
Well, you always get that was one of my favorite issues too when he finally goes bananas.
Oh, it's so
in I think it was Dark Avengers, right?
Dark Avengers was a gradual him shouting himself in a room and dealing with his demons,
and then him putting on the Goblin costume and murdering everybody on a helicarrier.
Yes.
And then what was the outcome of that? Where they just kind of wiped it under the rug.
Yes.
And they were like, this didn't happen. He didn't flip out and ferociously murder an entire platoon of his own agents.
So good.
It was fantastic.
So good.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Well, me too.
The Osborn stuff is really cool. I love the fact that in the past few years also, Marvel has really established their villainy is second to none, and you want to read comics about the villains.
Yeah, man. I think Marvel has the greatest group of villains. I'm such a Marvel fan, and I really I feed into a lot of this crap.
Right.
But I love seeing stories about villains. I think Marvel does so much better than DC does.
They do, but you know what? And that's not the fault of characters at all, because DC has some fantastic. The Flash's Rogues Gallery,
amazing,
and Batman's Rogues Gallery are two of the greatest of all time.
It's just a matter of overuse.
Right.
It's the secondary tier characters they don't have.
Right.
They do have those weird characters, but you read a book like Suicide Squad, and you have your Harley Quinn, even though she's kind of messed up now. They kind of screwed up with the character.
Right.
But you have Deadshot, King Shark, but you why are they wasting their time with Black Spider and this tattooed dude and El Diablo? You want to see they could take other characters, and I feel bad because you could totally get an awesome Secret Six book out of this.
Yeah.
As opposed to getting a Suicide Squad book.
Yeah. And you know what? You have so many. I don't know. That's the thing with a lot of DC villains is that you were saying that they don't really have that B squad, but a lot of their villains are the B squad.
Yeah.
A lot of them are jokes. You have Dr. Polaris comes to mind.
Dr. Polaris is good.
But underuse, and then the thing.
Monsieur Mala.
I think Monsieur Mala. But one of the things that I really think that they're always done wrong with their villains is that they'll establish them as a threat in one comic, and then in another, let's say, random issue of something else,
they get pounded.
In Green Arrow, they'll get pounded and get taken off to Blackgate. Yeah. So they don't really have a good establishment of cohesiveness like Marvel does.
But DC has better gorillas.
DC does it, but you have Monsieur Mala, you have
Ultra Humanite,
Gorilla Grodd,
which is one of the best.
Yeah.
Ultra Humanite's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with Gorilla Grodd because he's got a cape.
Sometimes he has a cape, but Ultra Humanite is a white gorilla,
right? And
he's also got that studded gear that he was that red suspender thing he does.
Yes.
He's got the big brain too. And Monsieur Mala is amazing just for the fact that he's a French gorilla who's in love with a bottled brain.
Yeah.
Which is just it's awesome. And he definitely had sex with his brain.
Yes. Absolutely, and it's a dude's brain.
Yeah, it's a gay French gorilla and his gay brain.
So weird. It's
awesome.
And you have and Gorilla Grodd too, who's a monkey king who on occasion wears a cape and can read your thoughts.
Yes.
You know, I that's frightening to me. I would not want a gorilla reading my thoughts.
No. I don't want Gorilla God ain't going anywhere near in my brain.
The Marvel gorillas are cool. You got the dude from
Gorilla Man.
Gorilla Man who was in Wolverine. The like a really weird story in that Wolverine book too.
Very weird.
With Jason Aaron, and you know what? Like I still love it. I'll eat it up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Wolverine as the Black Dragon in discovering. It's essentially Big Trouble in Little China with Wolverine.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, like talking about that villainy, man. Marvel does it right. There's such a cohesive.
Name one
unit.
gorilla. Marvel.
I name one gorilla.
Who else? What other gorillas in Marvel? That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. DC's got good gorillas.
Gorilla.
That's what they should have on the masthead. And they have like Detective Chimp.
Yes. Yeah, Detective Chimp. Didn't Marvel had that shoot 'em up monkey?
Oh,
from the Daniel Way miniseries.
The
Monkey Assassin.
He was a macaque. He was an assassin macaque.
Mm-hmm.
What was it called? I think it was called like Assassin Monkey.
Yeah.
Or Killer Monkey or something. Killer Monkey. Brilliant.
Coco will love it.
He would.
Is he a big monkey fan?
He's a huge one. I
love monkeys.
Oh, that's right.
Every conversation I have with him is about Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
I love them.
I wish I could be there. That is awesome.
It's like coming home.
He had to play the song.
Mandrill.
Mandrill's pretty rad. What is he? Is
Bobby's saying Mandrake.
Mandrake the magician. And you have weird stuff like the Purple Man in Marvel, who got established as a big time villain.
Yeah, dude, and he's a rapist.
Yeah,
he's a sick man,
and
he's got his own. They had a preview book out last week. They had Villains for Hire .1.
Right.
That stuff is cool.
Mm-hmm.
You get like Shocker. You get Avalanche.
Grim Reaper's in it?
No Grim Reaper.
I love Grim
Maybe
Reaper.
Grim Reaper's in it. I want to love Grim Reaper, but I never read a good Grim Reaper story.
No. And it's a shame too because he's what's Wonder Man's brother.
Yeah.
Or half brother, right?
Yeah, he's his half brother.
Yeah.
You get some cool they have I think Cottonmouth and Snake Dude. Another one of the Snake Dudes are in that team too. I'm looking forward to it. It's a villain book. I want 10 villain books per month. I don't want no superheroes.
Well, because Marvel makes their villains as the years progress more vile, and I think one of the big turning points was when we found out that Norman Osborn banged out Gwen Stacy. And when remember that?
Never forgotten.
And it was like I remember because we were working at the store at the same time, and I think it was one of those rare occasions where we both had a couple of minutes and we read the book at the same time.
Yeah,
and we were like, "What?
Whoa!" Because it's so gross. Because she remembers the memory of she's telling Mary Jane about when she banged Norman Osborn, and there's that one shot of one panel of Norman Osborn's head, between her legs or something like that, and it's just so nasty, sweat on his brow, and he just was in the middle of a bang. And I was he banged a little girl, and she banged an old man. Yeah. It was really nasty.
And she was I would say arguably 15 or 16.
Well, this was during the Acid storyline.
Right.
So it was the beginning of college. Okay. So she at least had to be 17, 18 years old.
Let's say 18. And
for legalities.
And it was another issue drawn by Mike Deodato Jr.,
which establishes the Tommy Lee Jones Norman Osborn, which is so uncomfortable.
It's really cool too because you'll never have Tommy Lee Jones play Norman Osborn because he's too old now. But in the comics, it works so well.
It's so good
because he gives him the Norman hair and the Tommy Lee Jones face.
Yeah, and it's so fleshy. It looks so everyone's faces look really really nuts next to Norman Osborn's everyone's taking him seriously and knows he's a viable threat.
Yeah, and he's not only the a crazy supervillain, he's also an awesome businessman.
Is he?
I think so.
Dude, Oscorp has failed a million times over.
The dude is all
good
business.
Speaker. He's a very good speaker. Yeah. He's convinced people that he's a good dude 13 times over in his career,
and they always believe him except for Spidey, because there's always that one panel in any book
Spidey knows he banged Gwen Stacy.
Yeah,
I wouldn't trust that dude.
No, not at all. Where was it?
My son's messed up on drugs. Maybe I should have sex with his girlfriend.
I think in at least in the past 5 years, there has been maybe 6 times where Spidey's but it's Norman Osborn.
Yeah,
why won't you listen?
And they've really been withholding on him just having a big showdown with Norman Osborn, which is really cool because that makes it even better.
It really does because he's so untouchable at this point that Spidey's a regular dude. He doesn't have access like everybody else does. No. Spidey will never have access to anything.
Even when he's on pretty much on the Fantastic Four now, and he doesn't get access to anything.
No.
He's just kind of going along for the ride.
They keep him in the dark because they think
I'm in a sock.
they think he's a dope. Avenging Spider-Man #1 came out this week too. Which, if you're a Spider-Man fan and you're not keeping up with like the current continuity stuff, this was
another idiot.
This was a surprisingly excellent book, and it's a good jump-on point.
Like Marvel Team Up. It's like it feels exactly like a Marvel Team Up.
And you have Zeb Wells, who did that awesome Future Spider-Man, like that essentially Spider-Man's Dark Knight Return story that was below everybody's radar when that came out.
Everything Zeb Wells has done has been really, really good with Spidey.
Yeah.
And plus you get to see Hulk carry Spider-Man.
Right.
And be comfortable.
that's a good little bit. And you also have the return of Joe Madureira, who was like the poster child of manga inspired comics in the late 90s.
Yeah.
You know, he did that crazy run on Uncanny X-Men where they went into space, and then
he does awesome like chunky dudes.
And then he did his independent stuff, Battle Chasers, and then he locked himself in a room and played video games for like 15 years, right?
He did Darkstalkers. Darkstalkers.
Right.
Darkstalker? No, Dark Riders.
Dark Riders?
Dark Riders.
It was a Capcom game, right?
I
no?
don't know if it was Capcom. It was awesome. It was really, really cool about the Four Horsemen.
Because I remember when Wizard was still relevant,
Dark Riders.
and they would actually have, before like the internet really blew up with comics, and they used to have like the interviews and stuff, and then you can kind of sense the fact where this guy was going because everybody was so about his art, and he did Battle Chasers, that creator-owned miniseries that ended maybe like 5 years after it began, and then he's like, I've just been playing a lot of video games,
doing a lot of video game stuff,
you know, and then he started doing a lot of video game stuff.
Yeah, he says straight up that he wants to be doing video games, like not just playing them, but actually designing them and working on them.
Which is awesome.
Follow your dreams, bro.
Yeah, but the book is great. I love it when
this is the beginning of the also very important thing about this book is it came with the download code.
Right.
This is also all of the Ultimate books are going to have a download code where you can actually purchase the regular format and you get the digital version of it as well.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is a really cool thing. You know what? I would be completely on board with that if they did it for every book.
Ultimates only.
Yeah.
So far. No, it is, and also all the books are going to be polybagged that have that in there. So there's going to be some collectability in there.
So you can't mess with it. And this book seems cool too because it's it's Spidey and Hulk. It's Spidey and Red Hulk teaming up, and then they get attacked by moloids.
They sure do.
Who are the Mole Man's people, and they bring him to the Mole Man, and the Mole Man's like, "Hey, guess what? There's other giant mole people down here with me, and I'm pretty scared."
They're awesome. It's a good issue. It's a good, solid, fun Spidey issue.
Yeah, it's really good. It was surprisingly good. I was about to pass on it, and also a weird part of me was about to pass on it because of the title. You know,
Avenging Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it just Avengers
doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
we have. Yeah, I mean, you could pull from Spectacular Web of you have other Spidey titles you can actually that are not being used right now.
Mm-hmm. And plus, he does not refer every Spidey title. He's always referred to himself as
the Amazing Spider-Man.
And
like, Friendly Neighborhood,
or like hey, it's me, the Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually ever said like you're caught in the web of Spider-Man.
I don't know about that. I've read a lot of Spider-Man. I think he's definitely said web of Spider-Man at least once. You're caught in the web of Spider-Man.
Turn him to Macho Man. The comic you're reading is the web of Spider-Man.
I want all my Spider-Mans narrated by Macho Man.
Bonesaw.
Turn the page.
That would be an awesome fan fiction. Macho Man wakes up in the Marvel Universe.
Oh no!
Like completely crazy costume. Like, where am I?
I'm dressed so amazingly.
I fit right in. So colorful around here.
Look at my giant hands. Take it up, brother.
Tick tock.
Cream always rises. And going with like, I'm such a huge Spider-Man fan.
Yeah, I think as I get older and older, I'm realizing that all I want to do is be Spider-Man.
I think so. I get so excited when you get multiple Spider-Man books per week, and I love the fact that
they're all good.
They're all good, and that Amazing comes out three times a month.
No, not anymore, but very frequently.
Yeah, it comes out very frequently, and now you have Avenging.
I think it's twice a month at this point.
Yeah, which is great. When it was coming out 3 times a month, man, forget it.
Well, you breeze through a storyline in no time. In 2 months, you had a full 6 issues.
And it's and Spider-Man's will always be the most identifiable character in Marvel. Like personally.
Queens wears a sock. Mm-hmm. I wear a sock.
Mm-hmm. Got to pay the rent.
Girl
troubles on occasion.
Money trouble.
Constantly fighting a mad scientist.
Every day I'm waking up and saying like, how many mad scientists I'm gonna have to deal with today.
That's my life. That's a big reveal for you viewers out there. I am constantly fighting a mad scientist.
Also, I'm always worried about the girl I'm with, if she's gonna bang my her father or my father,
or your extremely rich, good-looking best friend.
Yes.
Who owns a copy?
I'm always wondering if I should buy a motorcycle.
All right.
And it's always a mistake.
It's true. And I always have the problem of wondering which team I should be on next.
Or not having enough time to be on a team.
Exactly. Oh, that Parker luck. It's also weird that they said that in the that Kane.
Maybe I got a little Parker luck.
In that Kane thing where he's like, "Oh, great, it's raining." Maybe they cloned the Parker luck on my face.
Parker luck. Yeah, you were a scarred dude living in a sewer for like 20 years, dude.
Exactly.
This is the worst thing. You got caught in the rain. You should be used to this by now.
He was the ugliest. Yeah, exactly. Like he spent the last 20 years like getting poop flopped on him from toilet
and being a murderer and like choking people with the touch of cane.
Right, and now he's like, hey, like I'm a big, good-looking dude. Where did he stop in like
Texas?
Texas.
Yeah,
and he's gonna be the Spidey of Texas. So weird.
It's a lot to do in Texas.
Yeah.
I'll fight Rick Perry.
No real tall buildings in Texas.
No, he's gonna be the first walking Spider-Man. Man, I gotta get over there.
I need a segue.
Oh, that's terrible.
But we got another like awesome Spidey book that came out this week, following the Ultimate Comics banner. You have Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 4, All New Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man Dark Meat Edition.
Yeah, and and it follows the tales of I always forget his name, Miles Morales. Miles Morales.
Sounds like he's like a DJ.
Yeah.
DJ Miles.
He's so much more appealing when you don't say his name, because he's such a little kid.
Yeah,
like I think that's what really got going for him is like he's such a child.
He's like what, like 12, 13?
I don't know, dude. I feel like he's getting like younger and younger as I read this book.
I was after I read it the other day.
It makes me nervous.
Yeah.
He's gonna get badly hurt.
They do throw in that element of danger there, where like especially in this issue where he kind of realizes the whole, and they worked it in really well with the great power and responsibility thing. I was waiting for that moment and how Bendis was going to do it, because it was eventually going to happen, and they handled it in such a great way where he's like, I guess you're right.
Yeah, it was kind of a recap of his death, of Peter's death, and what Gwen Stacy says to him, to Miles Morales about like what makes Spidey, and that kind of drives him to put on the costume and be Ultimate Spider-Man. And
it's awesome that he also his friend, which I'd like to touch on a little bit, because I remember reading the issue, and I go into the bedroom, I'm talking to my girlfriend about it, and I'm like, one of the reasons why I love this book, they gave him an Asian best friend.
That was the reason why
one of the reasons, because I grew again, you relate to it as a New Yorker.
Yeah, it's a New York thing.
Because like I had a ton of Asian friends growing up.
Yeah,
and they actually gave the ethnic kid an Asian friend who like helps him save the day.
And wear awesome T-shirts.
Because he gave him like the Spidey costume, and he's like, you like were Spider-Man, and he's like, I got a lot of candy that year.
Yeah, I know. I do like the little costume that he puts on. It's a good issue. It's a lot of stuff that they kind of showed before in like Fallout. Ultimate Fallout. Yeah. But they've showed before with Peter Parker dying and the whole night. You're just getting a different angle from Miles' perspective. But yeah, man, like I think with horror movies and with like Spider-Man stuff, when you get the younger version character, you feel there's more danger involved with this. I think there's more an investment for it too.
It is, and because you're reading,
and dude, he hasn't done any superhero stuff really that much. Like it's very much a human talking head story. It's very much a Bendis book. But dude, I'm there. I'm totally on board for this book. I get so excited for this book.
Yeah, he's tried to be the hero and has kind of failed at it. And the ride the book is going to take you on him. You want to see him succeed as Spider-Man, and you also want to see him not get hurt.
Yeah, but I don't want to see that kid get hurt.
It's so weird.
His parents gonna find out. It's like it's Peter Parker all over again.
Exactly, and you get so emotionally invested with this stuff, and like as an adult, you're reading it, and you're like, that kid shouldn't be out there.
Well, yeah, like even when you first read Ultimate Spider-Man, because you had to relive like young, Peter Parker,
right?
Like him coming with like terrible bruises all over his face. And Aunt May's like, "What the hell's wrong with you? Like, what are you doing out there?"
Flash Thompson beat me up.
Yeah. And you have like this. There's an immediate threat, and always worrying about his his identity, you know,
Yeah.
stuff. Like, there's so much stuff to worry about with Spidey.
There really is, man. And like I got choked up a little bit with when they did the recap of him laying in the grass dying.
Yeah.
And he's like, I did it. I saved everybody. I'm like,
Yeah, and he's dead.
and he's dead. And then they did the funeral. And
Dead.
what was kind of interesting is that I think they're gonna have to clue in their roommate on, because it's Genki and Miles living in, I think that's how you say his name, living in like a smart kid's dorm, and they have like a third roommate who they lock out so he can change into the Spidey costume, and they're not supposed to have locked doors in the dorm. And he's
Why is the door locked?
and he's just like, and the coach kind of looks at him funny, and you know, he's like, "What's your deal, Spider-Man? What's your deal, kid?"
What's your deal?
Yeah, and
But
then
it's good. It adds that threat level. It
Mhm.
adds that level of, you know, he's worried about, like, I just can't run around and be Spider-Man. I have to
Mhm.
come back in the dorm and not lock my door.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And then you have him running into another Peter Parker clone, like the chick Peter Parker.
So many clones.
Yeah,
But yeah, I love Spider-Woman in
Mhm.
Ultimate Universe because it is Peter Parker with, you know, a female personality
yeah,
who's kind of gay.
yeah. I guess. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But I don't think they really touched on that. But it's cool that she's showing him in the book now because, like, to me, she was always like a weird, forgotten character
Yeah.
that got introduced. That was really, really interesting. That not enough was done with her, and now it's awesome that she's coming back into the fold.
And she's Jessica
this.
Drew also.
Right, which is another
Spider-Woman.
kind of like, yeah, which is another kind of cool thing because Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman in the Avengers, and she's super young.
She was
on
in
this.
something else too. She was in whatever last miniseries they just had. The thing with where Reed Richards was a bad guy.
In FF.
Like Ultimate Mystery.
Oh yeah.
Something
They
like
always
that.
like Ultimate.
Warren Ellis book.
Yeah.
They used her also. She's a good character.
Right, they use it because she was trying to infiltrate Roxxon.
Yeah.
Right,
And they made like the MODOK and like the leader and
Yeah.
all the Ultimate dudes.
She's a good character, and I'm very excited to see what this guy's rogues gallery is going to be. Yeah,
The fandom,
like
the internet.
they're surviving. I guess,
Dude,
Spidey rogues. You
Ultimate
know?
Spidey's villains are terrifying.
Yeah,
like they
really
are really like they made Green Goblin to like the scary Hulk version. He's terrifying. He's dead right now. He'll be back. But like Electro, like he
Right.
had a nightmare about Electro showing up in his dorm and electrocuting him.
Right.
Sandman's terrifying. They're all really scary dudes.
They're scary dudes because I think they brought like a good real life aspect to it. Where like if you knew a murderer or like a hardened like a really hardened criminal, and then all of a sudden they have friggin' electricity powers or like
And
sand
mental
powers
issues.
and mental issues, you're scared, man.
Yeah,
Like
man.
I'd be pissing my pants.
Dude, you're wearing a sock.
Yeah,
You're
and that's
wearing
it.
a sock on your body.
It's just no body armor. He's got to touch stuff to stick to it, you know. Not at all. And you know, they're really terrifying dudes, and you still have like your oddly updated rogues, like Electro's made of electricity.
Yeah.
Sandman still does the sand thing, and then even like guys like Hydro Man are a threat in the Ultimate Universe.
Listen,
you know?
Hydro Man's a really good
Yeah.
like assassin character. Like he could just fill up a room with water and just pull all the moisture out,
and disappear.
drown you, and
Yeah.
goodbye.
But
Hydro dude.
and I really want that confrontation to happen with Norman Osborn, who I'm assuming is dead, but you never know.
You never know. He's always
Yeah.
they always like say that he's dead and he's like locked away in a shield facility again.
Where he'll escape.
Escape.
And you know he'll obviously that throws a good monkey wrench into the plans because you know you can kind of almost see him getting out or coming back to life and saying like, "You have my formula."
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
even saying like, you know, why is Spider-Man not dead?
Right. And I'm gonna hunt you down because you have zero experience.
I'm a murderer.
You know.
We should bring back Harry again too. Harry was a good hobgoblin.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The ultimate line was
Awesome.
more hits than misses a
Yes.
lot of times. You know.
Arguable.
Yeah.
But the strong stuff is really strong.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Like a lot of the stuff, I never really dug the Ultimate Daredevil stuff.
No.
Or like the Ultimate Punisher stuff was kind of weak.
No.
You know.
It depends on what book it's showing up, and usually more times than not when they do introduce one of these Ultimate characters, it's not too hot. But the Ultimate Universe is definitely shaping up to be cool. Like Ultimate Hawkeye, I think is a great book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
Jonathan Hickman,
what they issue 3, right? They're up to issue
something
3
like
now.
that. Yeah, it's a good book. You get like Hulk and like the X-Men characters and
Right.
like Hawkeye with powers.
Right.
I think they're like slowly making like Hawkeye into some type of weird mutant where he's just like more of an enhanced human being.
I think they're gonna go for that in the movie too.
Yeah,
You know,
They
where,
like cyborg guys.
because well, not even cyborg guys, but like maybe like experimented on by like Department H or something like that. You know,
They're not bringing Department H.
Whatever.
I hope they do bring Department H in.
yeah, or like some crazy shit
Snip
like that.
bub.
Man. Yeah,
Wolverine claws
they would be awesome. I want the crossover, and the crossover is never gonna happen.
with Wolverine Hawkeye.
Like, not.
It can happen.
We both got the same style hat, bub. Let's team up.
Look at the way your head's shaped. Look at the way our head's shaped.
That's how Wolverine talks in my head.
Well, he does the animated series voice. Like the Wolverine like animated series is like Wolverine how he should be.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. In my head, he's just like gross. You know.
Bad subhuman, dragging his knuckles.
All right, Captain America. Let's see what you get.
Trailing off on every sentence into the distance.
Because the
I gotta go do some stuff.
The trailing off means that he's suppressing his rage.
And he doesn't really care about where he's at.
Hey, Spider-Man.
He's constantly walking away from a conversation.
I think that's it.
Wolverine, did you take care of that thing? Yeah, I took care of that thing. I gotta go do this thing.
I want that Wolverine. I want this submissive Wolverine, bottled rage Wolverine, who's just like, hey man, how you doing?
I'll see you guys later. I gotta go.
He's the guy who starts conversations walking backwards. Like he's walking away, constantly walking away from
weird
you.
social retard.
I gotta go to my room and punch a wall. Or something like that. I'm out of here.
He's what's his name from the cook from American Wet Hot American Summer. Putting a can of beans. I'm gonna go to those folly sweaters.
We gotta go. All right. Who's got a beard? And that's it. That's my Wolverine impression.
It's a good Wolverine impression.
That's it. That's all I got for any of the Marvel universe. Because in my head, like everybody has a booming voice.
Yeah, everyone is very clean. Like Captain America has the loudest voice in the room.
I feel, I think he does. Like the way I read my comics is him just like everybody's kind of mumbling and talking, and when he talks in the Avengers Mansion, which is a giant place, everybody like is like, "Jeez, man, like
scares the crap out of people."
Tone it down, Sentinel of Liberty.
Everybody, you gotta listen to me right now. Everyone, stop talking. Put that stuff down.
And he'll always make
you're all getting kicked off the Avengers.
He'll make everybody feel bad about kind of slacking off too. You know, like that's our job, Hawkeye.
You can't talk about not doing your job around Captain America.
Oh no,
it's like I got bullet wounds. Like you better get up, soldier. In World War II, we had to do this thing.
World War II, yeah.
He also trails off. It's like 10 narratives going on at once.
Spidey to me always talks like a Queens guy, and they actually addressed that in an issue I think of the Straczynski run where he's talking to that cop. For some reason I remember this when they were doing the Ezekiel story, and he was helping the cop. This is like Spidey's Commissioner Gordon.
I remember this.
Who's called like Chancellor Morden. Nah, it was like some dude. And he's hanging upside down, and he's like, "Let me guess, you're from Queens, right?" He's like, "How'd you know?" He's like, "The mask doesn't hide your accent, dude." And Spidey's like, "Go Mets." And
I like the fact that they write him very much like this guy is the most annoying dude to be around because he's so nervous all the time, so he's always doing these weird jokes.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact, like, I know what I read from Straczynski's run, the Loki issue. When it's like him and Loki, they eat hot dogs on top of a roof.
I kind of remember that.
One of the best, like one of my favorite panels is Ramita Jr. was doing the art. You know how Loki's got the big horns on the helmet.
Right.
It's just one panel, just like the two of them are talking, and Spider-Man's holding on to one of the horns.
Right.
Well, I was like this, like you know what to do. It's like, what are you doing? Like you're invading Loki's like personal space. Dude's just like a Asgardian god.
Right.
He's just like a weird, annoying like dude in a sock costume.
Would you be irritated at Spider-Man? If
I would.
Real?
I think I would definitely be irritated by Spider-Man. I'd be so like, oh my god, Spider-Man, because he's so like.
It's so animated. It's so animated.
Because he's like I always picture him like Lecture Company. Spider-Man was like, yeah, fingers and toes. and then like eventually he, you kind of calm down to him. But I think that I would like within 5 minutes of hanging out with Spider-Man, I'd be like, oh god.
Don't you got somebody
swing away?
You got somebody to save, bro.
Like you smell bad. I think Spider-Man smells terrible.
He probably does, man. Because you always read those issues where he is on like a 36-hour hero bender.
I like the fact. Yeah, he's disgusting. He's always never washed his costume.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that he's like terribly unhip. Like his favorite band. You know what it is? Elvis Costello.
Awesome.
Yeah, like it's like all he knows is Elvis Costello stuff.
I can see that. He's got no time for anything.
Spidey's feet.
I think on that note, we may be done for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done for the day.
We got the I got the twist fist signal, which was
cream corn.
oh, yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This has been another fantastic episode of Behind the Counter. I'm your host, Rich Stambolian.
I'm nebulous.
Good night.